וזה, בוא רגע, למה אין קול? התחיל.
רגע. טוב, גדעון, הנה, התקשרו מקליפורניה. הנה, למה אין קול?
למה?
מה עשיתם? זה אין קול. יש בטריה?
הנה.
עכשיו זה, כן. אין לו קול פה?
אז מה עשית? לחצת משהו?
אני?
אני זוכר ש... אתה עושה סטאפ וידאו. אני מיוט, הנה, אבל למה?
This morning, as we turn to page 100, we begin our tefillah together. I invite everybody to please rise as we start with the Birchot HaShachar with the morning blessings.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לשכפי בינה להבחין בין יום ובין לילה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בצלמו. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני בת חורין. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשני ישראל. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם פוקח עברים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מלביש ערומים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם מתיר אסורים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם זוקף כפופים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם רוקע הארץ על המים. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המחיד מצדק העבר. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם שעשה לי כל צורכי. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוזר ישראל בגבורה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם עוטר ישראל בתפארה. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם הנותן ליעף כוח. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם המעביר שינה מעינינו ממי עפעפי. רצון לפניך אדוני אלוהינו במותנו ושתק לנו בתורתך. ותננו היום ובכל יום לכן לחסד ורחמים בעיניך ובעיני כל רואינו ותגמלנו חסדים טובים. ברוך אתה אדוני גומל חסדים טובים לעמו ישראל.
May be seated now as we turn to page 112 and we continue with the Psalm for Shabbat.
היום יום שבת קודש שבו היו הלוויים אומרים בבית המקדש מזמור שיר ליום השבת. טוב להודות לאדוני ולזמר לשמך העליון להגיד בבוקר חסדך ואמונתך בלילות על יעזור. עוד ינובון בסבע דשנים ורעננים יהיו להגיד כי ישר אדוני צורי ולא עוולת בו.
And we now turn to page, Cantor, did you think I was going to forget? Did you think I was going to forget Psalm 27?
I was wondering.
Okay, I didn't.
Good for you.
There we go. So Sorry, we're just kibitzing back and forth. It's nervous energy. We're just kind of working this all out together. So it is customary for the month of Elul, the month prior to Rosh Hashanah, that we have a special psalm that we add as a way of just kind of cluing ourselves into the redemptive time and reflective nature of this time that we're in prior to the holidays. So we turn to page 113 for Psalm 27.
Le David Adonai Orivi Shimi Meira. 8 lines down in the Hebrew, the bold lines, or on the other side, the red transliterated lines. These lines, these beautiful lines from this psalm are set to this tune. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota avakesh. Achat sha'alti me'et Adonai ota avakesh. Shivti beveit Adonai kol yemei chayai. Lachzot b'noam Adonai ulevaker bechalo. Lachzot b'noam Adonai ulevaker bechalo. Ki tzpeneni b'sukkah miyom ha'el shmini b'seder olam. Ashir v'yazam alayah. Lulehem anti lirot betuv Adonai be'eretz chayim kaveh el Adonai chazak v'yametz libecha v'kaveh el Adonai.
Now page 120 for Psalm 30.
I just have to get there just a moment.
It's okay.
There it is. Mizmor shir Chanukah habayit leDavid. Aromim chananai kili li'lan lo yisimach to'y vayli.
Mute.
Dam l'anei chaysa. Hodu l'zecher kodsho. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Elecha Adonai ekra ve'el Adonai etchanan. Shema Adonai v'choneni Adonai ozer li. Shema Adonai v'choneni Adonai ozer li. Ha'hafachta mispiri lemacholi pitachta saki v'tazreini simcha le'ma'an yezamercha chavod ve'lo yidom Adonai Elohai le'olam modeka.
We now turn to page 121, and I invite anyone both here or who's watching as we live stream to please rise if you are reciting the Mourner's Kaddish. If you're currently reciting the Kaddish or observing a yard site, please rise and join with me. Page 121. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei Rabbah.
Amen.
Be'alma divrach hirutei v'amlich malchutei. B'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei dechol beit Yisrael. Ba'agala uvizman kari v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shmei Rabbah mevorach le'olam lo me'almaya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yipa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh. V'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha b'richu. Le'ila min kol birchata v'shirata. Tush b'chata v'nechemata da'amiran b'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehei shlama Rabbah min shemaya. V'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Asay shalom b'imromav, huya asay shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'imru. Amen.
Amen.
Are you kidding me? Are you kidding me?
What do I hear on top of this?
I just do not believe. I mean, does the Lord not have a sense of humor or what? Holy cow. So for the people out there who don't know what's happening, it's starting to rain. Okay.
Are y'all covered? I think y'all are covered. From the sun, of course. Rabbi, Shall we continue?
I think we should. So listen, prayers go on. Rain, snow, we're like the post office, improperly funded. So look, everybody, please, page 122, please rise as we continue with Baruch She'amar.
Lai, 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 yana, nai, 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 nai. Lai, 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 lai. Yana, nai, ya, lai, 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 lai. Lai, lai, ya, nai, 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 nai. Yana, nai, ya, la, 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 lai. Yana, nai, yana, nai, yana, nai, nai. Yana, lai, yana, lai. Yana, lai, lai, lai. Yana, lai, yana, lai. Yana, la, 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 lai, lai, lai. Yana, lai, lai, lai. Yana, lai, yana, lai, lai, lai. Yana, nai, yana, nai, 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 nai. Baruch she'amar ve'haya ha'olam. Baruch Hu, Baruch Oseh Bereshit, Baruch Omer Ve'oseh, Baruch Kozer Umkayem, Baruch Merachem al haaretz, Baruch Merachem al habriot, Baruch Mishalem Sachar Tov Yireya, Baruch Chai La'ad, Ve'kayam Lanetzach, Baruch Hodeh Umatzil, Baruch Shemo. Lai, nai, 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 nai. Yana, nai, 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 yana, na, 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 nai. Yana, nai, yana, na, 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 nai. Yana, nai, yana, nai, yana, nai, nai. Yana, nai, yana, nai. Yana, na, na, nai, yana, nai, yana, nai, yana, na, 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 nai, nai, nai. Yana, nai, 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 na, na, nai, yana, nai, nai. Yana, nai, yana, nai, 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 nai. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam haya lahavarachaman hulal tiamon shabach. Yachid Cheolamim, Melech Mishubach Umfoar, Radei Shemo Agadol, Baruch Atah Adonai, Melech Meulal Batishbachot.
Amen. May be seated as we continue, page 136, Ashrei.
Ashrei Yoshvei Veitecha, Od Yalelucha Selah, Ashrei Ha'am Shekacha Lo Shem Shadonai Elohav, Tehila LeDavid. פותח על ידיך, משביע לכל חי רצון צדיק, אדוני בכל דרכיו וחסד בכל מעשיו קרוב. תהילת אדוני ידבר פי, ויברך כל בשר שם קודשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך יה, מעתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
We turn now to page 141 as we continue with Psalm 150.
Hallelujah, 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 hallelujah. Hallelujah, El Bikocho, Hallelujah, Birkia Uzo, Hallelujah, Bigvurotav, Hallelujah, Kirov Gudlo, Hallelujah, Beteka Shofar, Hallelujah, Benevel Vechinor, Hallelujah, Bitofu Machol, Hallelujah, Beminim Ve'ugav, Hallelujah, 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 Betzilzele Shama, Hallelujah, Betzilzele Trua, Kolan Shama, Tehallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah, Kolan Shama, Tehallelujah, Hallelujah, Hallelujah. Lai, 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 lai. lai lai lai. Baruch Adonai le'olam amen ve'amen. Baruch Adonai mitzion shechin shamayim. Hallelujah. Baruch Adonai. וברוך שם כבודו לעולם, וימלא כבודו את כל הארץ, אמן ואמן.
Rolling right along, we continue on the top of page 145, Nishmat Kol Chai.
נשמת כל חי, תברך את שמך אדוני אלוהינו, ברוח כל בשר תפארת. מי יתמלך ומי ישפלך ומי יערוך לך האל הגדול הגיבור והנורא אל עליון קונה שמיים וארץ נהללך ונשבחך ונפארך ונברך את שם קודשך כאמור לדוד ברכי נפשי את אדוני וכל קרבי את שם קודשו.
We jump now to page 147, Shochenad Marom.
שוכנד מרום וקדוש שמו וכתוב רננו צדיקים באדוני לישרים נאווה תהילה בפי ישרים תתהלל ובדברי צדיקים תתברך ובלשון חסידים תתרומם ובקרב קדושים תתקדש ובמקלות רבבות עמך בית ישראל ברינת בשם על כל דברי שירות ותשבחות דוד בן ישי עבדך משיחך ישתבח שמך לעד מלכנו האל המלך הגדול והקדוש בשמיים וארץ. ברכות והודאות מעתה ועד עולם ברוך אתה אדוני אל מלך גדול בתשבחות אל ההודאות אדון הנפלאות הבוחר בשירי זמרה מלך אל חיי העולמים יתגדל ויתקדש שמי רבה וילמד דברי חירותי וימליך מלכותי בחיי חון ובימי חון ובחי לכל בית ישראל בעגלה ובזמן קריב יאמרו אמן יהי שמי רבה מבורך לעולם וליומי עולמיה יתברך וישתבח ויתפאר ויתרומם ויתנשא ויתהדר ויתעלה ויתהלל שמי דקודשה בריחו לאל מן כל ברכתה ושירתה תושבחתה ונחמתה דאמירן בעלמה ויאמרו Amen.
Invite everyone now to please rise as we turn to the bottom half of page 149 for the call to worship, the Baruch Hu.
Actually, that's east.
Oh, that'll work.
Perfect for me. Baruch Hu et Adonai HaMevorach.
Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai HaMevorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam yotzer or uvorei choshech Ose shalom uvorei et hakol.
May be seated as we continue on page 150, 4 lines from the top.
Hakol yodu chav yokol yishabchu chav yokol yimon kadosh koronei yokol yimon. אין קרקך ואין זולתך, אפס בלתך ומי דומה לך. אין קרקך אדוני אלוהינו בעולם הזה, ואין זולתך מלכנו לחיי העולם הבא. אפס בלתך גואלנו לימות המשיח, ואין דומה לך מושיענו לתחיית המתים. אל אדון על כל המעשים ברוך ומבורך בפי כל נשמה, גודלו וטובו מלא עולם דעת ותבונה סובבים אותו. המתגאה על חיות הקודש ונעדר בכבוד על המרכבה, זכות ומישור לפני כיסו, חסד ורחמים לפני כבודו. טובים מאורות שברא אלוהינו יצרם, בדעת בבינה ובשכל, כוח וגבורה נתן בהם להיות מושלים בקרב תבל, מלאים זיו ומפיקים נוגה, נועה זיום לכל העולם, שמחים בצאתם וששים בבואם, עושים באימה רצון קונם. פאר וכבוד נותנים לשמות צהלה, ורינה לזכר מלכותו, קרא לשמש ויזרח אור, ראה ויתקין צורת הלבנה. שבח נותנים לו כל צבא, מרום תפארת וגדולה, סרפים ואופנים וחיות הקודש. היי עלי ללי ניי 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 יא ניי 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 ליי 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 לאל אשר שבת מכל המעשים.
Top of page 152.
תתברך מושיענו על שבח מעשה ידיך, ועל מאורי אור שעשית יפרוך הסלע. תתברך צורנו מלכנו וגואלנו בורא קדושים.
Now top page 153.
ומברכים ומשבחים ומפארים ומריצים ומקדישים וממליכים את שם האל המלך הגדול הגיבור ונורא הקדוש הוא בכל המקבלים להקדיש ליוצרם בנחת רוח בשפה ברורה ונימה קדושה, כולם כאחד עונים ואומרים ביראה קדוש 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 אדוני צבאות, מלוא כל הארץ כבודו, ואופנים וחיות הקודש, ברעש גדול מן השאים לעומת שרפים, לעומתם משבחים ואומרים, ברוך כבוד אדוני ממקומו, לאל ברוך נעימות ייתנו, למלך וקיים זמיר תמיד.
הם יעשו אבש אצלם, הם לא רוצים שאנשים ישמעו אותם מדברים.
המחדש בטובו בו. אור חדש על ציון תאיר, ונזכה כולנו מהרה לאורו. ברוך אתה אדוני יוצר המאורות. אהבה רבה אהבתנו.
Page 154, Hava Rabbah, followed by the Shema on page 155.
והביאנו לשלום מארבע כנפות הארץ, ותוליכנו קוממיות לארצנו. כי אל פועל ישועות אתה, ובנו בחרת מכל עם ולשון, וקרבתנו לשמך הגדול. סלה סלה באמת להודות לך וליחדך באהבה. ברוך אתה אדוני הבוחר בעמו ישראל באהבה. שמע ישראל אדוני אלוהינו אדוני אחד. ואהבת את אדוני אלוהיך בכל לבבך ובכל נפשך ובכל מאודך. והיו הדברים האלה אשר אנוכי מצווך היום על לבביך, ושיננתם לבניך, ודיברת בם בשבתך בביתך ובלכתך בדרך ובשוכבך ובקומך, וקשרתם לאות על ידך, והיו לטוטפות בין עיניך, וכתבתם על מזוזות ביתך ובשעריך.
We continue with the second and third paragraphs of the Shema, page 156.
ויאמר אדוני משה לאמור דבר בני ישראל אל להם ויעשו ציצית. וראיתם אותו זכרתם את כל מצוות אדוני ועשיתם אותם ולא תטעו רחם. אל תזכרו ועשיתם את כל מצוות אדוני. אני אדוני אלוהיכם אשר הוצאתי אתכם מארץ מצרים להיות לכם לאלוהים. אני אדוני אלוהיכם, אדוני אלוהיכם אמת. ויציב נחום וקיים וישב בנאמן. אמן אלוהי עולם הקיים. לדור ודור הוא קיים ושמו קיים וחיסון נכון, ומלכותו ואמונתו לעד קיימת. ודוריו חיים וקיימים ונאמנים. על הראשונים אל האחרונים דבר דבר קיים לעולם ועד מבוא החוק לעולם השתורה. פודנו מצילנו מעולם שמך, אין אלוהים זולתך. עזרת אבותינו ואמותינו אתה הוא מעולם.
Page 157. This one's going to carry us all the way through Micha Mochat, bottom page 158.
תהילות לאל עליון ברוך הוא ומבורך. משה ומרים ובני ישראל לכהנו שירה בשמחה רבה ויאמרו כולם. ילאי לאי 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 ya lai la lai 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 la lai 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 la 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 lai 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 la lai 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 la lai ya lai la lai 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 la lai la lai 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 la lai nai 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 mi chamocha ba'elim Adonai mi kamocha nedar b'kodesh norat tehilot osef ele שירה חדשה שיבחו גאולים לשמך על שפת הים יחד כולם הודו והמליכו ויאמרו אדוני ימלוך לעולם ועד יא לילה 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 Lai lai la lai 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 la lai la lai 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 la lai la lai la lai 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 na nai na nai 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 na nai 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 na nai 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 Tzor Yisrael Kuma B'Ezrat Yisrael Uftechinu Mecha Yehuda veYisrael Go Aleinu Adonai Tzvaot Shemo Kedosh Yisrael Baruch Atah Adonai Ga'al Yisrael.
We now turn to page 159 for the opening blessings of the Amidah. We join together through the Kedusha through page 161, and then afterwards we continue at our own pace and to page 166. This is one of those where we all face that away.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu ve'Elohei Avotenu v'Imotenu Elohei Abraham Elohei Yitzchak ve'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel ve'Elohei Leah Ha'el Agadol Hagibor ve'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim Vekonei Akol Vezocher Chasdei Avot Ve'imahot Umevi Goel Ibnei V'neihem Leman Shemo Be'ahava Melech Ozer Ufoked Umoshia Umagen Baruch Atah Adonai Magen Avraham ufoked Sarah Ata gibor leolam Adonai mechayem etim Ata Rav lehoshia mechalkel chayim bechesed mechayem etim berachamim rabim somech noflim verofeh cholim umatir asurim ומקיים אמונתו לשני עפר. מי כמוך בעל גבורות ומי דומה לך, מלך ממית ומחיה ומצמיח ישועה ונאמן אתה לחיות מתים. ברוך אתה אדוני מחיי המתים. נקדש את שמך בעולם כשם שמקדישים אותו בשמי מרום, ככתוב על יד נביאך וקרא זה אל זה ויאמר קדוש 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 Adonai Tzivaot, Melech Kol Haaretz Kivodo. Az bekol rash gadol adir vechazak mashmi'im kol mitnaseim leumat serafim leumatam baruch yomeru baruch kevar Adonai mi mekomo mimkom chamalkenu tofia v'timloch aleinu Ki mechakim anachnu lach matai timloch b'tzion bekarov b'yameinu leolam va'ed tishkon titgadal v'titkadash b'toch Yerushalayim ircha ledor vador Ulenetzach netzachim ve'einenu tirena malchutecha kadavar ha'amur v'shirei uzecha al yedei David Meshiach tzidkecha yimloch Adonai le'olam Elohayich Tzion Ledor Vador Hallelujah Ledor Vador Nagid Godlecha Ulenetzach Netzachim Kedushatcha Nakdish Veshivchacha Eloheinu Mipinu Le'amush Le'olam Va'ed Ki HaMelech Gadol V'Kadosh Ata Baruch Ata Adonai Ha'el HaKadosh Yismach Moshe Yitkara v'yitkara shemei rabba ve'alma divrach yirutevim lichmalchutei b'chayechonu v'mechonu v'chay l'chol beit Yisrael ba'agala u'vizman kariv imeru Amen Yehi shmei rabba mevorach li'olam u'li'omei omaya Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'yitpor v'yitrumam v'yitnaseh v'yitadar v'yitalev v'yitalel shmei dekudesha brichu li'elam mikol berchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechamata damirat yama v'imeru Amen titkabel tzloton uvauton d'chol Yisrael kodam avuhon v'yishmaya v'imeru Amen Yehi shlam rabba min shemaya v'chaim aleinu v'kol Yisrael v'imeru Amen ohoseh shalom b'imromav hu ya'aseh shalom Aleinu ve'al kol Yisrael ve'al kol yoshvei tevel ve'yimeru. Amen.
turn around again, sit back down for at least a few moments as we continue on page 168. We've got some Torah to do.
Ein kamocha va'Elohim Adonai v'ein kema'asecha malchutecha malchut kol olamim u'memshaltecha bechol dor v'dor Adonai melech Adonai malach Adonai iloch Leolam vaed Adonai os liamo yitain Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom avarachamim heitiv avirtzonecha et Zion tivne chomot Yerushalayim tivne chomot Yerushalayim ki vecha levad batachnu melech elam venisa Adon olamim.
Can I ask everyone to please rise now as the ark is opened on page 168. I'm going to call forward at this point in time Sammy, who's going to be accompanied by her parents. They're just going to give her a helping hand, I think, in terms of just making sure we get that ark opened.
And the Bat-Mitzvah.
Oh, of course. You get up there too, Sophie.
Vayehi bin soa ha'aron vayomer Moshe kuma Adonai veyafutzu oyevecha veyanusu misanecha mipanecha ki mitzion tetzei Torah ki mitzion tetzei Torah Udevar Adonai mi Yerushalayim Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Baruch Shenatan Torah Torah Le'amo Yisrael B'kedushato.
Open my eyes, God, and help me to perceive what I have ignored, to uncover what I have forsaken, to find what I've been searching for. Remind me and all of us that we do not have to journey far to discover something new, for miracles surround us always. Blessingness and holiness abound, and you are near. Amen.
Beyanarachetz velishme kadisha kadisha yakira ana emar tushbechan beyanarachetz beyanarachetz velishme kadisha kadisha yakira ana emar tushbechan yehera vakadamach detiftach libi beoraita v'tashli mishalin delibi v'liba dechol amach Yisrael letav u'lechayin v'lishlam. Amen. Now, Dan, would you take the center Torah from the Aron? This is our passing of the Torah from your generation to the next. So, Rachel, and now please hand to Sophie. Grab a hold. Put your right hand towards the bottom, Sophie. I think that's going to be easier. Your right hand. That's it. That's terrific. Got it? Okay, now where's Sammy? Sammy, will you come and close the ark?
Otherwise, we're going to have to stand the whole time.
And now, parents, you can stay up there along with Sophie. Sammy, you can stay or sit, whatever you want after you close the Aron. But as long as the Torah is up, we're all standing. Rabbi, what page are we on?
We are on page 171.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
All right. Sophie, turn around and face the Kahal. There you go. And when I do my third line, you'll turn around and face the Aron, okay? Here's the first. Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Echad Eloheinu Gadol Adonenu Kadosh Shemo.
Turn around and we bow. Gadlu Adonai iti uneramema shemo yachtav. You may walk now, Sophie. Lecha Adonai hagidula ve'agivura ve'atiferet ve'anetzach ve'aod. Ki chol bashamayim uvaretz, ki chol bashamayim uvaretz, lecha Adonai hamamlacha, v'yamit na'aseh lechol lerosh romimu, Adonai Eloheinu. Vehishtachavu lehadom raglav kadoshu romimu Adonai Eloheinu vehishtachavu lehar kodsho ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu. As they're undressing the Torah, Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Oh, ki kadosh Adonai Eloheinu romimu. Oh, romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Romimu Adonai Eloheinu ve'yishtachavu lehar kodsho. Can you just please, now that it's undressed, just lay the cover on top of the Torah? That's great.
All right,
And
you may be seated. You guys can be seated too? Yeah. So, as part of being
Sophie, stay up there. Excuse me, Rabbi.
No, Sophie, you're just don't go anywhere. Stay there for a while, because at this point in time in our service, part of being a Bat-Mitzvah as part of our program is not just the preparing to chant from the Torah, chant from a Haftarah and lead services, but it's also studying so that we actually are able to take in and have the sacred lessons of the tradition be part of who we are. So to reflect on the Torah portion, some of the learning that she's done, and now turn things back over to Sophie.
Okay, Sophie, your mask is off. That's fine because you're behind there. You have them. Can you pull the mic down a little bit towards you? Or maybe just like point it. There you go. You have enough room there for your notebook and all? To open up to your speech. We can move the Torah over just a wee bit if you need to. Okay, Sophie, nice and loud. Let's hear your speech.
Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom.
Welcome to my Bat Mitzvah. Though this is not how I imagined this would go, it's nice at least knowing that my friends and family are virtually with me. My Torah portion is Shoftim, which means judges. This is a fitting title as it focuses on interpreting and applying law and order to society. Before analyzing this in more depth, let's look at what law and order means. Laws are society's rules. They are an agreed-upon system of living together that protects us from chaos, as people follow and respect these shared principles. Order is the enforcement of laws. We want those who enforce our laws to be fair, otherwise the whole system falls apart. Moses tells the people of Israel to follow a set of rules that aid in keeping peace. He states that courts must be set up with judges who are neutral and don't take favorites. In order to convict someone of a crime, 2 witnesses must testify before the accused can be punished. Moses also insists that all evidence must be investigated by the judges. It was very important for trials to be fair because that would protect people from being falsely accused and wrongly sentenced to death. Alongside these statements, unlike current law, if you accidentally killed the person, you had the right to flee to a city of refuge, a place where you would be protected from someone looking for revenge. The impression we get from all these Torah verses is that Moses really cared about his people not being killed. But this seems to contradict the law that's presented in next week's Torah portion, which states that if a teenager is rebellious, the parents have the right to pelt them to death with stones. In Deuteronomy chapter 21, we read that if a man has a stubborn and rebellious son who does not obey his father or his mother, and they discipline him, but he still does not listen to them, his father and his mother shall take hold of him and bring him out to the elders of a city. They shall say to the elders, "This son of ours is stubborn and rebellious. He does not obey us. He's a glutton and a guzzler. All the men of his city shall pelt him to death with stones." Wow. One question that I have regarding this law is that it doesn't say there needs to be witnesses. So what could stop parents from falsely accusing their own son? They can gather false evidence against their son to prove him guilty and can bribe people to be witnesses. If this law is ever carried out, the rabbis put in place extra precautions to prevent death. As we know, Parshat Shoftim states that there needs to be 2 witnesses before a death sentence can be carried out. So the sages insist on this. They also point out that both parents need to feel the same way and want their son to be charged with death. If just one of them doesn't agree, then this case can't happen. The rabbis also say that there needs to be a specific crime, otherwise it doesn't count. The teen must eat and steal meat along with drinking a lot of wine. If the child only drank wine but didn't eat meat, this law can't be used to punish him. So the rabbis made it very hard for this situation to ever have existed. A further question we can ask about this section is if the Torah is wishing to protect its people, why is this law in existence? To answer these queries, this law can serve as a warning towards both parents and teens of what can happen if you don't take control of your life. If a teen continues of his path of stealing and rebellion, he might not have much more life to live. It serves as a warning towards parents in the same way as it does to the child. If they don't control their child and raise him to be on the path of a good person, they might have to watch him die a miserable death one day. Also, very conveniently, the rabbis point out that the text is written in the male form, meaning that only a male child can have this law applied to them. Girls are protected from this. I think this also gets to the heart of how criminals are made. It starts from having a home life that is hostile. People don't just act violently for no reason. There are triggers. Kids learn how to behave from the adults they grow up with. It's not fair to expect a child to act well if they don't have good examples to follow. They are growing up in a situation where both parents are seriously considering publicly killing their son, then they can't be good parents. Moses, by giving these laws, is striving to make society more peaceful and warn people against rebellion. So we learn that it starts at home. If kids can feel loved and learn good values from their parents, then we would all be a kinder, happier society. Shabbat Shalom.
Shabbat Shalom. Yasher Koach. Yasher Koach. All right. Terrific introduction to this week's Torah portion, Parshat Shoftim, and the importance of laws and the way they help build our society. Really great. We now turn to page 1088 for the beginning of our reading from the Torah, in the very beginning of Parshat Shoftim, chapter 16, verse 18.
Okay, we're going to have Sophie sit down. And Rabbi, could you please outline for the people who are here the protocol of when they are having a blessing or if they are reading Torah?
So if you are reading Torah, we ask that you're going to be remaining in your seat and that you read from your seat. If you have an aliyah, you can come up to read from the mic that is over here, and we will be wiping down that mic each and every time that people come up. Any other instructions, Cantor Arnoff?
I don't know. That's probably it. Did we decide that the Torah readers are not coming to the mic? I'm confused.
Oh, excuse me. You're right. We're having right. My mistake. First time through, folks.
And Rabbi Bernhardt's on microphone wiping duty.
Yes.
We may want to move this microphone just a little bit away from this group over here so that whoever approaches is not actually sitting in their lap or singing in their face, even though we know that they are common pods here today.
All righty. So I will actually come over and take care of that. And yeah, my mistake, our Torah readers and everyone's going to be reading from that mic, but we will be wiping it down in between.
I didn't hear a word you said.
Seriously?
Yeah, really, I didn't.
Nah, you're right. No, it was my mistake. So yeah, we are going to be reading from this mic, but we'll be wiping it down each and every time.
Okay. And did you mention that our first 3 aliyot are congregational aliyot and zoomed in?
I did not.
Okay, well then I'll mention it. So this is a day of firsts. It's our first bat mitzvah during this whole, let's just call it Mishugas. And therefore it is the first time we're reading Torah. It's the first time we are having congregational, members of the congregation also have aliyot in addition to members of the bat mitzvah family. We're going to be zooming them in. I know that, let me get my correct paper in front of me. Kiara is our first Torah reader, right, Kiara? You're our what? You're our first Torah reader? Right? Right? You are reading verses 18 through 20, correct? All right, so we're going to put you over here. That's terrific. You ask Ari, he will tell you what's terrific. I apologize for that, Ari. And Kiara, hold on. I'm going to call up the first aliyah, and then they are going to appear and say their bracha, and then you are going to read. So, Vayazor v'yagen v'yoshil l'chol ha'chosim bo v'nomar amen. Hakol avukod Eloheinu tnu kavod laTorah. Ya'amdu Menachem Gershon ben Yisrael umalka ve'elka etel bar Yitzchak Pesach v'sar Rachel l'aliyah harishona. Baruch Shanatan Torah Li'amo Yisrael B'Kedushato Ve'atem Advikim B'Adonai Elohechem Chaim Kulachem Hayom.
Baruch Hu et Adonai Hamvorach. Baruch Adonai Hamvorach Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech HaOlam. Asher Bahar Banu Mikol Ha'amim Venatan Lanu Et Torato Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
נותן לך לשבתך ושבתו את המשפט צדק. לא תטה משפט, לא תכיר פנים, ולא תיקח שוחד, כי השוחד יעבר עיני חכמים, ויסלף דברי צדיקים. צדק צדק תרדוף למען תחיה וירשת את הארץ אשר אדוני אלוהיך נותן לך.
Can we get them for the closing bracha?
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam nata betochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. And now for the second aliyah. Ya'amdu. We're going to wait to kill the sound for a moment. It's kind of how the remote control on my TV works. You know, it's like not all the time. Ya'amdu Mordechai ben Shlomo v'Tziro v'Yehudit bat Yitzchak v'Shoshana l'Aliyah hashniya.
Baruchu et Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach leolam va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'nahatan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Lo tita lecha ashera kol eitz el mizbach Adonai Elohecha asher taselach velo takim lecha matzeva asher saneh Adonai Elohecha lo tizbach l'Adonai Elohecha shor v'aseh asher yeh vomum kol davar ra Ki toavat Adonai Elohecha hu Ki matzeh bekirbecha biachad sherecha asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach Ish o isha asher yaseh tara b'nei Adonai Elohecha la'avor burito vayelech v'yavod Elohim acherim vayishtachu lahem ולשמש או לירח או לכל צבא השמיים אשר לא ציוויתי והוגד לך ושמעת ודרשת היטב והנה אמת נכון הדבר נעשתה התועבה הזאת בישראל והוצאת את האיש את האישה ההיא אשר עשו את הדבר הרע הזה אל שעריך את האיש או את האישה וסקלתם באבנים ומתו על פי שניים עדים או שלושה עדים יומת המת לא יומת על פי עד אחד יד העדים תהיה בו בראשונה להמיתו ויד כל העם באחרונה וביארת הרע מקרבך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen.
You had started.
Ya'amod Shmuel Yehuda ben Shmiel v'Riva l'Aliyah hashlishit.
The third Aliyah can be found on page 1090, and we're reading starting verse 8.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach.
Baruch Adonai Hamborach le'olam va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et torato. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. Ki paleh ממך דבר למשפט, בין דם לדם, בין דין לדין, ובין נגע לנגע, דברי ריבות בשעריך, וקמת ועלית אל המקום אשר יבחר אדוני אלוהיך בו, ובאת אל הכהנים הלוויים ואל השופט אשר יהיה בימים ההם, ודרשת והגידו לך את דבר המשפט, ועשית על פי הדבר אשר יגידו לך מן המקום ההוא אשר יבחר אדוני, ושמרת לעשות ככל אשר יורוך.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam asher natan lanu Torah emet v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen.
Amen. And now for the fourth aliyah, we leave the world of the technical and do this locally. Ta'amodna Devora bat Shmuel v'Sara v'Rivka bat Shlomo Moshe u'Devora l'aliyah harevi'it. Ella, you're reading, right? So hang on. Wait. Rabbi B?
Yeah. Oh.
Do you want to do the aliyah from your seat right there? Okay. And then Ella, you can stand here at the mic. Amen.
Amen. Al pi haTorah asher yerucha ve'al hamishpat asher yamrechu lecha ta'aseh lo tasur min hadavar asher yagidu lecha yamin usmol ve'ha'ish asher yaseh v'zadam avilti shemo al hakohen ha'omed l'sharet sham et Adonai Elohecha O El HaShofet Umet Ha'ish Hahu Uviaretza Hara Misrael V'kol Ham Yishmu Ve'ra'u V'lo Yeziyadun Od.
Ari? Amen.
Alrighty, our fifth aliyah can be found chapter 17, verse 14. And we are on page 1092.
Ya'amod Uzi ben Yitzchak v'Rivka Chamishi.
ברכו את אדוני המבורך.
Baruch Adonai Baruch Le'olam Va'ed.
ברוך אדוני המבורך לעולם ועד. ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם, אשר בחר בנו מכל העמים ונתן לנו את תורתו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen.
Amen. Ki tavo el haaretz asher Adonai Elohecha noten lach rishta v'yashavta ba v'amarta v'asima alai melech kechol hagoyim asher tzivotai sum tasim alecha melech asher yivchar Adonai Elohecha bo mikerev achicha tasim alecha melech lo tuchal latet alecha ish nochri asher lo achicha hu rach lo yarbe lo susim lo yashiv et ha-mitzrayma leman harbotus vayadonai amar lachem lo tosifu lashuv bederech hazeh od v'lo yarbe lo nashim v'lo yasur levavo v'chesef zahav lo yarbe lo me'od.
ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם אשר נתן לנו תורת אמת וחיי עולם נטע בתוכנו. ברוך אתה אדוני נותן התורה.
Amen.
Amen. Ya'amdu for the sixth aliyah. Yosef ben Shlomo Moshe Devora bat Avraham v'Sara, Sarah Shena bat Yosef u'Devora, v'Avigail bat Yosef u'Devora, la'aliyah hashishit.
Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Barach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch Ata Adonai Eloheinu Melech Haolam Asher Bachar Banu Mikol Hamim V'na'atan Lanu et Torato. Baruch Ata Adonai Noten HaTorah.
Amen.
Amen. V'haya kishivto al kisei mamlachto v'chatav lo et mishnei haTorah hazot al hasefer milifnei hakohanim haleviim v'hayta imo ukravo kol yamei chayav leman yilmad lira et Adonai Elohav lishmor et kol divrei haTorah hazot ve'et hakukim ha'ele la'asotam levilti rim levavo me'echav ulevilti Sur min ha-mitzvah yamin small leman ya'arich yamin al mamlachto huvanav bekerev amo lo yeh lekohanim halevim kol shevet levi chelech v'nachala am Yisrael ishe Adonai nachlato yachelun v'nachala lo yeh lo Nachlo yelo bekerev echav Adonai hu nachlato ka'asher diber lo. Shmo.
Amen. Ya'amdu Daniel ben Yitzchak v'Rivka v'Rachel bat Shlomo Moshe u'Devora u'Shmuel ben Daniel v'Rachel l'aliyah hashvi'it. And Sophie goes up too because she's going to read for you. Take off the cover.
Can you pull that out? Nope. Nope.
Yeah. Did you find the place?
We found it.
Yeah, okay.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai. Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim, v'natan lanu et Torato, Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Sophie, you can take off your mask if you'd like to. Thank you very much. You're behind that barrier, so it's okay. Amen.
Amen. V'zeh mishpat hakohanim me'et ha'amet zovechei chazeh va'im shorim seh v'natan lakohen hazero v'halahayim v'hakeva reishit tiganecha tiroshecha v'yizcharecha reishit gadsonecha titen lo kivo bachar Adonai Elohecha mikol shevatecha la'amod l'sharet b'shem Adonai hu uvanav kol hayamim.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet, v'chayei olam nata b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai
Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen. Sophie, would you cover the Torah, please? Because at this point, I'm going to say the Chatzi Kaddish to separate the 7 aliyot before and your special aliyah right now. But you all stay up there. Yitkada v'yitkada shemei rabba v'yalmad yivrach yirutei v'yamlich malchutei b'chayechon uv'yomechon uv'chayei decho beit Yisrael bagala uv'izman kariv ve'imeru amen yehei shmei rabba mevorach li'olam li'omei omaya yitbarach Yitbarach, v'yishtabach, v'yitbar, v'yitramam, v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar, v'yitale, v'yitalal, shemei dekudesha, brichu, li'ela, min kol birchata v'shirata, tushbechata v'nechemata, damiran bi'alma, v'yimeru, amen. Tamod, 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 Habachura, Ora, Bat Daniel Verachel, Bat HaMitzvah, Maftir. You may now uncover the Torah and open it up to the spot. Take your talit and touch the beginning of the reading you're going to do, and then kiss the tzitzit. Hold on to the handles of the Torah, because this is how you receive Torah. Are you holding on? Good. Bracha.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed.
Baruch Adonai Hambarach Leolam Va'ed. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher bachar banu mikol ha'amim v'natan lanu et Torato. Baruch atah Adonai
Shemo.
noten haTorah.
Amen.
V'zeh mishpat hakohanim me'et ha'amet zovechei chazeh va'im shorim seh v'natan lakohen hazero v'halahayim v'hakeva reishit tiganecha tiroshecha v'yizcharecha reishit gadsonecha titen lo kivo bachar Adonai Elohecha mikol shevatecha la'amod l'sharet b'shem Adonai hu vanav kol hayamim.
Take your talit again and touch the spot. Give a kiss, hold on to the handles. Second bracha.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam, asher natan lanu Torat emet v'chayei olam natan b'tochenu. Baruch atah Adonai noten haTorah.
Amen. Shekochech. Now we are going to have our version today of lifting and tying the Torah. So I asked the Eli family to roll the Torah back up together, nice and tight, to put the belt back on and the cover back on, and all the silver except not the crowns. They can just stay on the table as we sing, Vezot HaTorah Asher Sam Moshe Lifnei Bnei Yisrael Al Pi Adonai Beyad Moshe Yisrael Kudsha Berichu Beyoraita Chadu Yisrael Kudsha Berichu Beyoraita Chadu Torah, Torah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah, hallelujah. Torah, Torah, hallelujah. Yes, we have the mystery of the opening ark door. We thought that was fixed, but we will work on it again. I do have some chewing gum, if that might help. Okay. Sophie, you can stay, and the rest of you may sit down. Sophie, is your notebook up there?
Yes.
Good.
So before Sophie chants the Haftarah, we are going to do a Misha Berach, a prayer for all who are ill.
Misha Berach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel veLeah Hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim Elna refana Elna refana lo Elna refana Elna refana lo.
May the one who blessed our ancestors, Abraham, Isaac, and Jacob, Sarah, Becca, Rachel, and Leah, bring blessing and healing to Tamar bat Miriam, Ethel bat Chana, Chaim Shmuel ben Miriam, Shlomo Eliyahu Halevi ben Bluma, Ber Dov Halevi ben Bluma, Zechariah Reuven Halevi ben Shoshana, Yenta bat Rachel Chava Devora, Rachel Leah bat Reachaya, Sarah Devora Bracha bat Zipporah, Rachel Chia bat Rachel, Rita Hope Munson, Uri ben Fischel Batya, Leah bat Golda, Julie Gordon, Zisel ben Goldie, Hanuch ben Cecilia, Louis Kaplan, Leah bat Basha, Eliyahu ben Golda, Malka bet Miriam, David Cohen, Rachel Smokler Frankial, Saul Halpern, Yael Tzipora bat Chazan Yehudit Dinah, and Yitzhak Otto Jagado. If you have a name of a friend or loved one that you wish to add, invite people both here and people who are watching this through live stream. We give but a moment in our service. We'll take a moment of quiet right now. And I invite you to offer up any name of any loved one or friend, anyone who you wish to send out a blessing of healing. May the Holy One mercifully restore all those that we've named this morning with our words and in our heart to health and to vigor, granting them spiritual and physical well-being together with all others who are ill. And may God grant strength to those who tend to them. And let us all say, Amen.
Amen. Mi sheberach Avoteinu Avraham Yitzchak veYaakov Sarah Rivka Rachel v'Leah, hu yivarech v'yirapeh et hacholim.
Alrighty, my friends, we now turn back in our Chumashim to our Haftarah. Now, just a quick word about Haftarot in general, about this Haftarah in particular. So, as you may have surmised, doing this particular bat mitzvah at this particular time was not our particular plan, right? This bat mitzvah was when was this one meant to occur, Sophie?
May 2nd.
May 2nd. May 2nd. So look, we eventually got around to it. Let's look at it maybe as like Jewish Standard Time. Either way. So the Haftarah that Sophie had prepared for May 2nd is not traditionally the Haftarah that we would read, this being one of the weeks where we read Haftarot of consolation following Tisha B'Av and leading up to Rosh Hashanah. This Haftarah is the one, though, that she prepared. And here's the thing. According to Jewish tradition, the Haftarot weren't standardized until later. It used to be that the person preaching would choose the Haftarah that they would then use as the basis of their sermon. So truly having a fixed Haftarah for a Torah portion is actually something that is not required or necessary by Jewish tradition. It just sort of came along. And the trick is, therefore, that whoever is introducing the Haftarah simply has to know enough to figure out how to connect the Haftarah to the Torah portion, and then all is good. So here's the thing. Very easy to connect, and easy to connect because of Sophie's beautiful words, right? Sophie was talking about justice, right? And about fairness, right? And was talking about in some specific cases. But here's the part that I would extend on what Sophie was saying, which is justice, if it's not for all, isn't really justice. Fairness, not applied to everybody, isn't fairness either. Those things are called preferences. Justice and fairness are when you see that everyone in the world, the people you like, the people you don't like, the people in your tribe, the people not in your tribe, the people who are smart enough to support Liverpool Football Club because it's the greatest football club, and everybody else. Sorry, just personal thing there. Justice and fairness only work if they apply to everyone, which is why this is a perfect Haftarah for the Torah reading and the words that Sophie shared. Because this is a Haftarah that reminds us at the very beginning, to me, O Israel, you are like the Ethiopians, declares the Lord. True, I brought up Israel from the land of Egypt, but guess what? I also brought out the Philistines from Kaftor and Armenians from Kir, right? God isn't just the liberator for the Jewish people. God isn't interested in only justice and fairness for the Jewish people. God is the liberator for all. And the Torah understands, and our tradition understands, that justice has to be for all. Fairness and equity have to be for all people. Otherwise, it just rings hollow. And so it is a perfect Haftarah to be chanted today. It's found on page 706. Sophie, take it away.
Sophie, is the mic in front of you?
Yeah. Baruch atah Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam asher bachar b'nviim tovim v'ratzav divreihem hanemarim b'emet. Baruch atah Adonai habocher b'torah u'Moshe avdo u'Yisrael amo u'v'nviei ha'emet v'tzedek. Halo kivnei Kushim atemli b'nei Yisrael Num Adonai Halo et Yisrael Haleti me'eretz Mitzrayim Plishti mikavtor bara mikir Hinei Einei Adonai Elohim B'mamlacha chachata Bishmati ota Me'al p'nei hadama Efes Ki lo Hashmid et Beit Yaakov Num Adonai Kinei Anochim etzaveh bani yoti v'chol hagoyim et Beit Yisrael kasher yinoah bakra v'lo yipol tzibor aretz v'acherev yamutu kol chatei ami haomrim lo tagish v'tagdim ba'adenu hara ביום ההוא אקים את סוכת דוד הנופלת וגדרתי פרציהן והריסותיו אקים ובניתי הקימי עולם למען ירשו את שריד אדום וכל הגויים אשר נקרא שמי עליהם נאום אדוני עושה זאת. הנה ימים באים לאדוני וניגש חורש בקוצר ודורך ענבים במושך הזרע ותקפו ההרים עסיס וכל הגבעות תמוגגנה בשבתי את שבות עמי ישראל ובנו את שרי ערים נשמות וישבו ונטעו חרמים ושתו את יינם ועשו גנות ואכלו את פריהם ונטעתים על אדמתם ולא ינטשו עוד מעל אדמתם אשר נתתי להם אמר אדוני אלוהיך ברוך אתה אדוני אלוהינו מלך העולם צור כל העמים צדיק בכל הדורות האל הנאמן האומר ועושה המדבר ומקיים שכל דבריו אמת וצדק נאמן אתה הוא אדוני אלוהינו נאמנים דבריך ודבר אחד מדבריך אחור לא ישוב ריקם כי אל מלך נאמן רחמיו אתה ברוך אתה אדוני
שמו
האל הנאמן בכל דבריו
אמן
רחם על ציון כי היא ביתנו ולעלו בנפש תושיע במהרה בימינו ברוך אתה אדוני
שמו
משמח ציון בבניך
אמן
שמחנו אדוני אלוהינו באליהו הנביאים עבדיך ובמלכות בית דוד משיחך במהרה יבוא ויגל ליבנו על כיסא לא ישב זר ולא ינחלו עוד אחרים את כבודו כי בשם קודשך נשבעת לו שלא ינחל נרו לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני מגן דוד
אמן.
על התורה ועל העבודה ועל הנביאים בכל יום השבת הזה שנתת לנו אדוני אלוהינו לקדושה ולמנוחה לכבוד ולתפארת על הכל אדוני אלוהינו אנחנו מודים לך ומברכים אותך יתברך שמך בפי כל התמיד לעולם ועד ברוך אתה אדוני
שמו
מקדש השבת
Amen.
Yasher koach.
Yasher koach.
So in a moment, Sophie, you're going to have to make a really big decision, which is in a moment, your parents are going to speak to you, then I'm going to speak to you, then these people are going to throw candy at you. And you have to decide whether or not you're going to risk standing away from the plastic plexiglassy thing there and take the candy directly, or you're going to hide there.
Oh, I'm going to take the candy directly. No doubt.
Yeah, that's a girl. Yeah, she gone for it. Okay. So with that having been said, first, before we pelt you with the candy or shower you with sweetness, depending on how you look at it, it is a pleasure to be able to call on your parents, Dan and Rachel. We're going to offer up some words to you, and then I'm going to give you a charge afterwards.
Wait, do I have to stand back?
There we go. Mazel tov. Take this off for a moment. Come closer to us. That was amazing. You did a beautiful job. Sophie, when you were born just over 13 years ago, I remember looking into your beautiful face, and I noticed instantly that your hairline was in the shape of a heart. You had a little circle on this side, a circle on the other side, and a point in the middle, and it was a little heart. And to this day, whenever I see you with your hair in a ponytail, we see the heart. You could not have been born with a better reminder who you are and how you live your life. Not only are you kind and loving, but you're smart and funny. You're fierce and thoughtful. And right now, in the last few months, what we've seen the most from you is perseverance. I accentuate the word perseverance because, surprise, this is not the bat mitzvah we thought we were going to have. I know that things don't always work out the way we expect them to. And you've annoyingly heard me say that over and over for the last 5 months. But even though your heart was heavy with disappointment with the turn of events, you never gave up. You kept up your studies and kept running towards the finish line. Normally, this is a time in a speech when parents give their children their life lessons and advice for the future, but we are living in such a strange time right now that this is what I want to tell you. This will pass. This will pass. I promise you. You will eventually be able to do all the things you enjoy, see your friends again, go to dance class and gymnastics, go to the mall. You'll be able to go to school and do cheerleading and work in the library and eat lunch in very large groups on the lawn with your friends. I promise you. It will all come back again. This time we are experiencing is very defining. It will make you strong and aware. It will make you appreciate life so much more. The simple things in life won't be so simple to you, and it will give you the substance of who you are. This life lesson, which you're experiencing right now, which we are all experiencing right now, will strengthen you. Whatever obstacles are thrown your way, you will have the tools to overcome because you are strong. But when you're not feeling so strong, and we all are, every one of us, we have those moments, know that you have an abundance of friends and family that love and adore you and that you can lean on. And I know that you would do the same for them. But even more, know that you are truly never alone. There's always someone higher looking over you. And I hope that you find strength and comfort in knowing that God, in whatever way you imagine God to be, is right there beside you. You are just at the beginning of your path. You have your whole life in front of you. Use your courage, your strength, your determination, your love to make a place in this world for yourself that makes you proud. Because so far, everything you've done up till today has made your dad and I so proud of you. You've got this, Sophie. We love you.
I didn't laugh this time. I might laugh at yours.
I'm gonna laugh at mine. Okay. Sophie. Hi. Well, the day's finally come. We're here. You're a Bat-Mitzvah. And you're laughing at it. Getting here didn't go exactly as we planned. You've had to overcome a pandemic, shutdowns, multiple postponements, Zoom lessons, and having to learn 3 different parshot. And just to add a cherry on top, this morning we had a power outage, and earlier today it started to rain. So you really had it all. All we were missing is an earthquake.
Oh, gosh.
Well, listen. But you've made it. You're here. I'm so proud of the young woman you've become. When you were 2 or 3 years old and toddling around, your Savta Rivka used to look at you and say, she's a lady. By that, she meant that even as a toddler, you carried yourself with poise and confidence. She would be so proud of you today. You have grown up into a strong, independent, intelligent, hardworking, and sometimes stubborn young woman.
That's because you make me go swimming.
Right? Your mom and I never have to worry about you doing your homework or getting good grades. And we can always count on you to help out, even when it involves spending some time with your little sister. More important than that, you're a good person. You're kind, you're a loyal friend, daughter, and sister. You're always honest, caring. You're always there to lend a hand when somebody needs it, or just to say, are you okay? These wonderful traits will carry you throughout your life as you go through your journey. As you do, remember that you're not alone. Your family, friends, community, and 3,000 years of Jewish history are right here with you. And although your extended family couldn't be here with you in person, they're here with you in spirit and on the internet. I also know that your Saba Yitzchak, your Savta Rivka, and your Grandpa Michael are all looking down at you right now, and they're beaming with joy. Congratulations on becoming Bat-Mitzvah. I can't wait to see what great things you're going to accomplish in your life. I love you.
Love you, baby.
Mazel tov.
Good job.
So at this time, I'm going to ask Dan and Rachel to please have a seat. I'm going to say a few words, then the cantor and I are going to offer up the priestly benediction, and after that, you get to shower Sophie with that sweetness. So Sophie, this is now my chance to be able to just share a few words with you. First, actually, I just want to thank your parents. I love the words that you said, and in particular, Rachel, the words that you shared with Sophie, the words for really all of us. Gam ze ya'avor. This will pass. And we just learn to be resilient and show the strength, Sophie, and the grace that you've shown, and it will pass. And we will begin living again in ways that are more familiar to us. Now, your name, Sophie, comes from the Greek word meaning wisdom. And I actually think that your name is very appropriate for who you are, because in the time that we've spent together, in the learning we've done, in the class that we were in, and in the Torah that we studied, I got a sense of your wisdom. I got a sense of insight. And so you are true to your name. But here's something that I know your parents know, but I don't know if everyone here knows, because I don't know exactly how far this particular kibitz and joke went. But when I first started the JLC class, the 6th grade class that you're in, and I went around and I asked people their names and what they wanted to be called, aside from their Hebrew name, Sophie here goes, Mango. Right, so I want you to know for a year, and actually still, because I just think it's just so great, I call Sophie Mango. Now, I also think, though, that that's a great name for you, because that shows the other side of you. Sophie shows your wisdom, shows your smarts, shows your intelligence and the hardworking nature that your parents spoke about. But Mango shows the play. Mango shows the fun, right? And that came out too in class in ways that were really fun. You were very playful as a student, playful in terms of your thinking, playful with the other students, in terms of just kind of getting along with them and kibitzing and enjoying the learning and enjoying being with people and doing that, which I think is actually one of the most important things that human beings can do ever, and that is simply play. You are wise and you are playful. In this week's Torah portion, there's a curious little mitzvah that comes towards the end of the Torah portion. It says when the Israelites are laying siege to a city, they can't destroy the fruit-bearing trees that surround the city, right? Trees that don't bear fruit, they can knock down, they can cut down and make siege engines and anything they need for the siege, but the fruit trees, they can't cut down. And the Torah literally says, what? Trees have legs like people, they can run away? Of course not. So you can't destroy them. You can't just wantonly destroy things. And Rambam, Maimonides, will pick up on that. Rambam was a brilliant medieval commentator and one of the leading Jewish philosophers and thinkers of all time. And he said this, in fact, is an example of Baal Tashchit, of our not being able to destroy physical objects, right? And when listing, Rambam lists a lot of different physical objects. And his point is this: we're not allowed to wantonly destroy or waste anything in this world, right? Everything itself has a certain kind of value, a certain level of worth. And wanton destruction and wastefulness is simply contrary to Jewish tradition as Maimonides sees it. And one of the things rabbis often teach is they say, alachat kama v'chama, right? And if this is how we treat these physical objects, trees and microphones and desks and masks and whatever, how much the more so, alachat kama v'chama, how much the more so people as well. Our tradition commands us to understand that people are created b'tselem Elohim, in the image of God. And therefore we owe it to each person that we encounter to treat them as if they were God standing before us, to treat them with the kind of respect and dignity that they deserve, to treat them with the compassion and understanding and grace and forgiveness that we would all want for ourselves and for each other. So Sophie, as you go forward from this day as a Bat-Mitzvah, as you now have taken upon yourself being part of this people by chanting this story and saying that this story is your story, I hope that you'll be able to continually employ that wisdom and playfulness as you go forward, and to do so in a way that honors all people and all things in a way that's not only befitting for what Jewish tradition says, but I think befitting for the way that you look upon things and the kind of caring and compassion and heart that is just a part of who you are. Mazel tov, did a beautiful job here this morning. So pleased, so proud, so grateful to be able to share it with you and with your family. Now, at this point in time, Cantor and I are going to offer up the priestly benediction. We're going to kind of go back and forth a little bit here. So if you want, you can just stay looking at me, or you can look at the cantor when she's singing and then turn and look at me. I'll leave it up to you. You'll be the first to break in a new pattern for us.
Yevarechecha Adonai v'yishmerecha.
Sophie, may God bless you and guard you always.
Ya'er Adonai panav elecha v'chuneka.
May God's face shine upon you and be gracious to you.
Yisa Adonai panav elecha v'yasem lecha shalom.
Sophie, may a sense of God's presence surround you always. And in responding to that presence of God, may you walk paths of peace, paths of shalom. And we all say, Amen and Mazel Tov.
Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov.
Throw the candy.
Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov. Siman tov, Mazel tov, Mazel tov, Siman tov. Yehelanu, Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecha Yisrael.
Yehelanu,
Yehelanu. Ulecha Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecha Yisrael. Yehelanu, Yehelanu. Ulecha Yisrael.
Now, Sophie, if you could go along with your brother and sister and your parents, and if you will all please rise, and in fact, if everyone who's here will please rise. Sophie, you get the candy later. As we join together in the Shehechianu, the blessing of Thanksgiving.
Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu melech haolam shechianu vekimanu vehigianu lazman hazeh.
We acknowledge you, God, as a source of life and grateful for the flow of life that sustains us, revives us, and brings us to such joyous occasions. Amen. Mazel tov to all of you. May be seated. And now we turn to page 181 in our prayer books as we have the Ashrei, and we are led in the Ashrei by next week's Bat-Mitzvah, Avital Goldzweig.
Ashrei yoshvei beitecha, odelelu chasela.
Ashrei ha'am shekacha lo, Ashrei ha'am sh'Adonai Elohav.
Tehila leDavid, aramimcha Elohai hamelech, va'avarcha shimcha le'olam va'ed.
V'cho yom avarcheka, va'ahalela shimcha le'olam va'ed.
Dol Adonai uhual me'od, v'liduato ein chikir.
Dor ledor yishabach ma'asecha, ugvurotecha yagidu.
Adar kivod hodecha, v'divrei nefotecha asicha.
Ve'ezuz nurotecha yomeru, ugdulatcha asaprena.
Eseraktecha yaviu, v'tzidkatcha yarnenu.
Chanun v'rachum Adonai, erech apayim ugdol chesed. Yoducha Adonai kol ma'asecha, v'chasidecha yevarchucha.
Od malchutcha yomeru, ugvartcha yedaberu.
Lehodia livnei ha'adam kavorotav, uchvot hadar malchuto.
Malchutcha malchut kol olamim, umem shotecha bechol dor v'dor.
סומך אדוני לכל הנופלים, וזוקף לכל הכפופים.
הנה כל אליך יסברו, ואתה נותן להם את אוכלם בעיתו.
פותח את ידיך ומשביע לכל חי רצון.
צדיק אדוני בכל דרכיו, וחסיד בכל מעשיו.
קרוב אדוני לכל קוראיו, לכל אשר יקראוהו באמת.
רצון יראיו יעשה, ואת שבתם ישמע ויושיעם.
שומר אדוני את כל אוהביו, ואת כל הרשעים ישמיד.
ישפט אדוני ידבר פיו, ויברך כל בשר שם קדשו לעולם ועד, ואנחנו נברך ימי עתה ועד עולם. Hallelujah.
Yeshakach Harital. Look forward to sharing this moment with you next week. All righty, my friends. We now turn to page 103. The ark is mysteriously opening as a way of saying it is time to return the Torah back to the ark. So I'm going to ask everyone to please rise, call the Eli family forward to help us out.
And if you could give the Torah to Sophie, put the crowns on top. You can leave the aron closed for just a second, although it'll open all by itself, I'm sure. You got the crowns for it, the other silver. Thank you, Nathan. Yehalelu et Shem Adonai, ki niskav Shemo levado, hodo al eretz v'shamayim, vayarem keren liyamo, tila lechol chasidav, livnei Yisrael am kerovo. Hallelujah, hallelujah. Mizmor leDavid, Avul Adonai b'nei Elim, Avul Adonai kavod va'oz, Avul Adonai kavod shemo, Ishtachavu Adonai behadrat kodesh, Kol Adonai al hamayim, el hakavod yirim, Adonai al mayim rabim. Kol Adonai ba'koach, Kol Adonai behadar, Kol Adonai shover arazim, Vayishaber Adonai et arzei halevanon, Vayarkidem kemo egel, Levanon v'Sirion, kemo ben re'emim. Kol Adonai chotzev labotesh, Kol Adonai yachil midbar, Yachil Adonai midbar kadesh, Kol Adonai yecholel hayalot, Vayechesov yiranot, Uvechalo kulo mer kavod, Adonai lamabul yashav vayeshev, Adonai melech levolam, Adonai os li'amo yitein, Adonai yevarech et amo v'shalom, uvenucho yomar. Shuv, I don't know. Eitz chayim hi, lama chazikim ba, v'tomchea meyushar, deracheha darchei noam, v'chol netivoteha shalom. Hashivenu Adonai elecha v'nashuva. Hadesh, Hadesh Yameinu, Hadesh Yameinu kekedem.
right, you may be seated momentarily for the Chatzi Kaddish, page
Sophie.
184. Chatzi Kaddish, page 184.
Ikadav ikadash meraba.
Amen.
Balmadi vakute v'yamlich malchute v'chayechon uvyomechon u'chayedecho be'Yisrael b'galav izman kariv v'meru.
Amen. Yehi shmei Rabba mevorach le'olam le'omei omaya yitbarach.
Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpar v'yitroman v'yinaseh v'yitadar v'yitale v'yitalal shmei dekudesha
Barichu.
le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata tushbechata v'nechemata damiran b'alma v'meru.
Amen. Right, everyone is able. Please rise. We turn to page 185 for the opening blessings of the Musaf Amidah. So if you're going to lead us through page 187 through the Kedusha, and afterwards it goes on, concludes on page 192. We face that away this time again.
185.
Okay. Baruch atah Adonai Eloheinu v'Elohei Avotinu v'Imotenu Elohei Avraham Elohei Yitzchak v'Elohei Yaakov Elohei Sarah Elohei Rivka Elohei Rachel v'Elohei Leah Ha'el Hagadol Hagibor v'Hanora El Elyon Gomel Chasadim Tovim V'Koneh Chakol V'Zocher Chastei Avot V'Imahot Umevi Goel Livnei V'neihem L'ma'an Shemo B'Ahava Melech Oser Ufoked U'Moshiach U'Magen Baruch atah Adonai Magen Abraham Ufoked Sarah.
Amen.
Atah Gibor L'Olam Adonai Mechayim Eitim Atah Rav L'Hoshia Mechakel Chayim B'Chesed Mechayim Eitim B'Rachamim Rabim Somech Noflim V'Rofei Cholim U'Mahatir Asurim Umekayem emunato lishenei afar michamocha bal gevurot umidom melech mamit umechayei umatzmiach Yeshua v'ne'emanat elecha hayot meitim baruch atah Adonai mechayei chamei hametim.
Amen.
Na'aritzecha v'nakdishcha kesod tziach sarfei kodesh hamakdishim shimcha b'kodesh kakatuv al yad neviyecha v'kara ze el ze v'amar kadosh 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 Adonai Tzevaot v'lo kol haaretz kevodo kevodo melei olam misharta sholim ze laze ayei mekom kevodo le'umatam baruch yomeru
Baruch kevod Adonai
mimkomo hu yifen berachamim b'yachon amcham yachadim shemo erech vavoker bechol yom tamid pamayim be'achashima omrim Shema Yisrael Adonai Eloheinu Adonai Echad. Hu Eloheinu, Hu Avinu, Hu Malkeinu, Hu Moshienu Behu Yashmienu Berachamav Shenit Le'enei Kol Chai Lechiyot Lechem Le'Elohim Ani Adonai Elohechem Uvdivrei Kodechecha Katuv Lemor Yimloch Adonai Le'olam Elochai Zion L'dor V'ador Hallelujah Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador.
Nagi
Godlecha.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagi godlecha.
Ule netzach netzakim. Ule netzach netzakim. Kedushatcha nakdish. Ule netzach netzakim. Ule netzach netzakim. Kedushatcha nakdish. Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador.
Nagi godlecha. Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador.
Ledor vador. Ledor vador. Nagi godlecha.
V'shivchacha Eloheinu mipinu lo yamush le'olam ba'ed. Ki Melech gadol gadol v'kadosh gadol kadosh ata baruch ata Adonai ha'el hakadosh.
If you finished, you may be seated. We now continue on page 203 with Kaddish Shalem.
Yikara v'ikara shemei rabba.
Amen.
Ba'ama diva kirute v'yamlich malchute b'chayechon v'yomechon v'chayei decho ben Yisrael. B'agalav izman kariv v'meru.
Amen. Yehi shmei rabba mevorach. Le'olam le'omaya yitvarach.
Yitbarach v'ishtabach v'itpar v'itramah v'naseh v'ithadar v'itale v'italash medekudesha
Barichu.
le'elam min kol berachata v'shirata tushbichata v'nechamata damiran b'alma v'himeru.
Amen.
Titkabal tzlotechon uvauton dechor Yisrael kodam avuhon divishmaya v'himeru.
Amen.
Yehi shalom arabamim shemaya b'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimeru.
Amen.
Oseh shalom miramav hu yaseh shalom aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'al kol yoshvei tevel v'yimeru.
Amen. Shakah.
Yeshakah. Well done. Thank you so much, Sophie. Thank you. We continue now, page 204, Ein Keloheinu.
Ein Keloheinu, Ein Kadonenu, Ein Kemalkeinu, Ein Kemoshienu, Mi Keloheinu, Mi Chadonenu, Mi Kemalkeinu, Mi Kemoshienu, Nodeh leEloheinu, Nodeh leAdoneinu, Nodeh leMalkeinu, Nodeh leMoshienu, Baruch Eloheinu, Baruch Adoneinu, Baruch Malkeinu, Baruch Moshienu, Atahu Eloheinu, Atahu Adoneinu, Atahu Malkeinu, Atahu Moshienu.
We ask everyone to please rise, page 205, Aleinu.
Aleinu l'shabeach l'Adon hakol, latet gedula liotzer breshit, shelo asanu kigoyei haratzot, velo samanu k'mishpachot ha'adama, shelo sam chelkeinu kahem, vegor aleinu kechol amonam, va'anachnu korim,
Umishtachavim umodim,
lifnei melech malchei amlachim, HaKadosh Baruch Hu, Shehu Notei Shamayim v'Yosei Haaretz, U'Moshav Yikaro b'Shamayim Mima'al, U'Shchinatu Zo, B'Govhei Meromim, Hu Eloheinu Ein Od, Emet Malkeinu, Efes Zulato, Kakatu b'Torato, V'yadat Hayom v'Hashevota, Elevavecha, Ki Adonai hu Elohim v'shamayim mima'al, v'al haaretz mitachat einod, al keinu kalelech Adonai Eloheinu, Takeinu l'malchut shel malchut b'nei Ki ha'malchut shelcha hi u'la'olam yimloch b'chavod, ka'katuv b'toratecha, Adonai yimloch li'olam va'ed, v'ne'emar v'haya Adonai lemelech al kol haaretz, bayom hahu yeh Adonai echad, u'shemo echad.
May be seated. As we turn to page 207, call upon anyone who's currently reciting the Mourner's Kaddish, observing Yartzeit, to please rise and join with me in these words of remembrance, these words of sanctification, the Mourner's Kaddish. Yitkadal v'yitkadash shemei rabbah, be'alma divra chirutei v'yamlich malchutei, b'chayechon v'yomechon uv'chayei dechol beit Yisrael, ba'agala uv'izman kari v'yimru, Amen. Yehi shmei rabbah mevorach le'olam lo me'el maya. Yitbarach v'yishtabach v'yitpa'ar v'yitromam v'yitnaseh, v'yitadar v'yitaleh v'yitalal shmei dekudesha brichu. Le'ela min kol birchata v'shirata, tush b'chata v'nechmata da'amiran be'alma v'yimru. Amen. Yehi shlama rabbah min shemaya, v'chayim aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. Asay shalom b'mromav, hu ya'aseh shalom, aleinu v'al kol Yisrael v'yimru. Amen. So in a moment, we're going to conclude on page 211 with Adon Olam and then also with the Kiddush. Cantor Aronoff, do you have any announcements you wish to make?
Good Shabbos, everyone.
That's a good one.
You know, like, it really didn't rain very much. we made it. Other announcements? Well, we have a bat mitzvah next week, as you all know, because you heard the bat mitzvah girl do the ashrei. I would like to announce, what about shofar blowing in the month of Elul?
I will do all of that.
Why don't you take care of that?
Okay, so a number of things that are going on. We have our continuing Elul Zman programming. So tomorrow is the third of 4 lectures and discussions being led by Professor Mark Dollinger on Black Jewish relations. Been a really interesting conversation so far. Invite people to join us. We also have our daily shofar moment, which if you go on our Facebook page, each day except for Shabbat, we will be posting the basic shofar blasts because it is customary to hear the shofar as part of morning services in the month of Elul. So we have a little 30-second moment of reflection there. And we also have next week's services coming up. We are pleased to be able to celebrate with the Goldsweig family. And more than anything else, we just want to thank all of you. Want to thank all of you for being here. Thank especially the Eli family for all your patience as we work together, try to figure out how to do this. God bless you. You were amazing, amazing all the way through. And Sophie, mwah, wonderful stuff. Really, really great. So Mazel Tov, Toda Rabbah, really from the bottom of our hearts, both of the clergy and the whole congregation. Thank you so much.
I would also like to thank Ari and team for helping to Zoom this out to everyone. And, we've been taking care of all of the tech stuff in-house up until now, but for something like this, we really, really appreciate the help. So thanks, guys.
Very much so. So, page 211, Cantor?
Yeah, that's good. 211. I'll go with that.
Okay, Adon Olam.
Okay. Adon Olam asher malach b'terem kol Yetzir nivra li'eit nasa b'chefzo kol Azai melech shemo nikra Azai melech shemo nikra V'yacharei kichlot hakol levado yimloch nora Ve'hu haya ve'hu ove ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu yeh b'tifara ve'hu echad ve'ein sheni lehamshilo lehachbira veli reishit veli tachlit velo ha'oz ve'hamisra velo ha'oz ve'hamisra ve'hu eli ve'chai go'ali ve'tzor chevli ve'yetzara ve'hu nisi umanos li menat kosi beyom ekra menat kosi beyom ekra beyado avkid ruchi beyet ishan ve'ayira ve'im ruchi geviati Adonai li ve'lo ira Adonai li ve'lo ira.
As Sophie comes up here to lead us in the Kiddush, I just want to mention to everyone, I am actually the Darshan for Shabbat. In order to kind of keep our service here as kind of short as possible, short being a relative word, but also just get us out of the sun as quickly as possible. I'm giving the drash has been our pattern after services. So we will shut things down here, but then I will be zooming it out, live streaming it out via our Facebook page in about 10 minutes after we conclude here. So that having been said, everybody, please rise as Sophie and I are going to help with the Kiddush on page 77.
Hold on. Was it clear that you're on Facebook Live?
Yes.
Not Zoom, Facebook Live.
Oh, yeah, Facebook Live. You know what? I use Zoom as a noun. I use it as a verb.
Kind of like Xerox.
I use it as an adjective. Yeah, I don't even think, it's just Zoom. Everything is a Zoom. All righty. Ken Berach Adonai et Yom HaShabbat v'kachechu Chaverai.
L'chaim.
Baruch Adonai Elokeinu melech haolam borei pri hagafen.
Amen. Mazel tov.
Shabbat shalom, mazel tov.
Shabbat shalom. Shakar.
Now, time to pick up that candy.